Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Dani and today it's time for the Gems Goals game round 2. So if you don't know what this game is, this is a game that I created and started last month. This is basically a combination of my January wrap-up and a goals tracking throughout the year. So for every book that I read in the month that fulfills one of the goals that I set for myself in the beginning of the year, I get a gem. Each color of gem means a genre, and if I get 3 gems of one color, I can buy a book in that genre. If I get 5, if I don't use the 3 and I save 5, I can buy a special edition of that genre, of a book in that genre. And if you watch the video that I put for the January books, you know that I asked people for recommendations of what the special diamond clear gem was going to be. So first of all, I wanted to thank everyone who gave me a lot of really cool ideas for the clear gem, but also just really gave a lot of love to this game that I created that I'm really excited about. It makes it so much more fun to film, but also hopefully to watch wrap-ups because they tend to be a bit long and not very exciting if you don't like the books that it's being talked about. Of course, this game had a lot of inspirations from some also other awesome, amazing booktubers, so if you're curious about it, watch the first game. I explained all the rules and mentioned everyone that inspired me, and everyone is in the description as well. But let's talk about the clear gem before we start this month's thing. So between all the really cool ideas that were given, I don't know if I picked one of or mixed multiple ideas and came up with something on my own as well. It's just something that I think is going to be a lot of fun. So the clear gem, what is going to happen if I pick this one up in the bag is that every month I'm going to have a set of, let's say, 3 books. That I didn't decide. I'm deciding right now. 3 books. And if I pick the clear gem, you're going to vote on which book that I'm going to purchase. That's pretty much it. I'm going to tell you which of the 3 books are in that month's list. I did not make a list so far this month, so if I pick the clear gem, I'm gonna have to think about it. But if I pick the clear gem, I'm going to buy one of the 3 books, and the most voted book in the comments is the one that I'm going to buy. So this gem means an instant purchase. And of course, it doesn't go back to the bag automatically. I don't know when it should. Maybe it should stay out of the bag like 2 months and then I put it back. I don't know. But that's the meaning of the clear gem, and I'm going to add it to the bag right now. Okay, this is really exciting. So if you want to know more about the goals that I'm tracking this year, I have a video completely just about the goals, but I also explained which ones I'm tracking with this game in the first round of this game. And like I said, this is a very mini review wrap-up. I don't want to spend too long in each of these books, so it's just a short description, a short how did I feel about it, and then we go to the bag if the book actually fulfilled one of my goals. Right now, each of the jars have 1 gem. It was exactly 1 of each color in January. So let's see how it went in February. In February, I also read 9 books, same as I did in January, and I'm going to talk about them in the order that I read. So the first book that I read in February was Gallant by V. Schwab. The first book that I finished in February. I started in January, finished in February, was Gallant by V. Schwab. This is a YA, I want to say, almost middle grade fantasy about a girl who goes to this mansion called Gallant and a lot of weird stuff starts happening. She's an orphan. She used to live in this orphanage that was a very bad place, and then she goes to this mansion. And I don't know how much more I can say about this book. But I have a complete full video just about this book, so I'm definitely not going to spend a lot of time in this one. If you're curious, I'm going to leave a link in the cards for you to check it out. But I did not love this book. I thought it was very atmospheric. It was a lot about the vibes of the story and the atmosphere and all of that, and the plot just was almost inexistent, and I didn't like the characters, so it was big disappointment for me. Did this book fulfill any of my goals? It did not, unfortunately, so it was a disappointment and not even useful for this game. The second book that I completed in the month was The Lost Ones by Shina Kamal. This is a thriller about what was it about? It's about a detective who is contacted by this guy who says that there's a girl missing, and she finds out that this girl that's missing is a baby. At the time it was a baby that she gave for adoption, but now it's a teenager that's missing, and she goes to investigate that. This book was also a miss for me. I thought it was very unrealistic. The character was just doing a lot of really weird stuff that didn't really make sense for me. And I don't know, it just didn't get the whole idea of what this book was trying to accomplish. Things that I liked about it was the setting and the dog. I didn't like the main character, I didn't like the side characters, and how the story was developed. Like the decisions that the author made on how this all would be solved. But it wasn't a bad book. It was just okay. It was a 3 stars for me. Did this fulfill a goal for the year? It definitely did. It is one of the thrillers that I had on my list to read, the Margarita thrillers. Everything was described on that first video. I don't want to repeat everything in every round, but it is one of the thrillers that I had on my list to read this year, and I got a gem for that. So let's see what's the first gem that I'm going to pick. Blue. Blue is sci-fi, and I'm very excited about this. I mentioned in the first video that one of the special editions that I want to buy is the Jurassic Park Barnes & Noble edition. And I actually decided a few weeks ago that I was going to buy it. Like I said, this is not because I'm not buying books besides games, it's just an extra book. But I decided I was going to buy it, and it's unavailable. It's sold out. I don't know, it's unavailable in the website online. I can't find it. I'm really sad about it. But yes, hopefully by the time that I get 5 blue gems, it's going to be back on the website for me to get. The next book that I read in February was In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. This is also a thriller about this group of friends who one person died a long time ago and they're coming back for a reunion after 10 years, I think, probably. And thus all the secrets are being revealed. You know what I mean. This was a Discord pick for February, and it was so awesome to read with other people. Not everyone read it at the same time, but a few of us were reading it right at the same time and kind of stopping it around near each other without even like agreeing to do so. But it was a lot of fun to read with people and just try to figure out what was happening, who was guilty, and like just everything that was being unraveled here. And I really loved the story. Combined with that experience, it was complete 5 stars. I really loved it, and I definitely recommend if you like this type of thrillers, because everything here is important and there are no things that are presented just for the sake of misleading you to think something else. Like everything matters in some way or another to the story. So it was really good. I really recommend it. And does it fulfill a goal? I think it does. I'm going to confirm, but I'm pretty sure it does. Yes, it is one of the thrillers that I had on my list to read this year, so I got a gem for that. Second gem for round 2 is going to be... what is this? Orange. I was gonna say yellow, but like there's no yellow. It is orange. Orange is thriller, which is fitting for the book that gave me the gem. The next book I read in February was actually an audiobook, and it was The Arrangement by Robin Harding, I want to say. Yes, Robin Harding. This is about a woman who's in college, and she doesn't have a lot of money, and she meets this friend who has a lot of money, and she asks this girl how she got that money, and she finds out that she's an escort. So she goes into that world, and of course things don't go well, because otherwise we wouldn't have a book to tell a story. But this audiobook was awesome. This was an arc that I had on NetGalley, so spoiler alert, it does fulfill a goal, but it was an arc that I had on NetGalley, and I actually listened to the audiobook this time, and it was really good. I just wanted to keep listening to it. The narration was awesome, and just the pacing of the book was really good, but I did not like the ending. So in the end it was 4 stars, because I didn't like how everything was solved in the end. But the whole experience of the book and in audio format was really awesome, so I would definitely recommend it. Like I said, I got a gem because it is an arc from Nat Galley, and it is going to be orange again. Okay, so I have 3 thrillers, 3 gems of the thriller color. That's what I mean, which means 1 book. But I don't know what I want. Let's continue and see where we're going to go with this in this round. The next book that I read in February was Mickey 7 by Edward Ashton. I also have a full video just about this book because I read this book, I bought this book because I had never heard about it before and no one seemed to have heard about it either, so I just bought it and read it and vlogged it. And that was the whole thing. So this is a sci-fi about a man who is an expendable, so his job is to go to dangerous situations to get killed, and then they just clone him and he does that again. So we're in the 7th iteration of Mickey, and story unravels from that. I'm not going to talk much more about it. Like I said, there's a whole video, and I do recommend it because it was a really fun experience to read a book that I had never heard anything about. And I'm not going to tell you what I thought about it. So you should check that video. If this sounds interesting to you, check the video. Does this fulfill a goal? It absolutely does not. Like I said, I had never heard about this book before, so it fulfills nothing. Next, I read The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is a YA mystery about a girl who inherits this huge, insane fortune. You have no idea how big this fortune is, but she inherits all of it, and to really get the money, she has to live for a year in the house of the man who died with his 4 handsome grandsons. This man who died liked playing a lot of games and riddles, so it's filled with that sort of thing, like scavenger hunt kind of thing, and riddles really and puzzles that they have to solve, and it's so much fun. I had a lot of fun with this book. It was a 5 stars. If you like YA mysteries about teenagers solving crime and solving riddles and puzzles, it's just perfect. It was really just fun, just a fun time. It wasn't informative or inspiring or anything. It was just a lot of fun, and I do recommend if you like this sort of stuff. However, this does not fulfill any of my goals. Just my goal of reading a lot of good books. Next, I read No Exit by Taylor Adams, and I read this in like 2 days because I found out that the movie was coming out that I didn't know. Like I heard that there was going to be a movie, but I didn't know it was going to be so soon. And we saw the ad for it on like Instagram or something. I'm like, I have to read this book before I watch the movie because it was so hyped. Everyone loved it so much, and I didn't know anything about it going in. But this is a thriller about a woman who stops at a rest stop because of a snowstorm, and she finds a girl at a van that's like being kidnapped and is being kept there. So like one of the people in the rest stop is guilty, and we have that whole story happening. For me, this book was okay. Same with the movie. It was okay. It was not bad. It was a fun time. The movie was probably a more fun time than the book just because it's shorter. But the book was okay. It's just not the type of thriller that I prefer, although I do want to read more of this type because it's like just a thriller. There's no mystery to it. It's really just a thriller. And I prefer when there's some sort of mystery to it, when we're trying to figure something out. And there was not enough of that for me. I do want to read more of this type of books because I just want to make sure that this is something that I don't like in mystery thrillers. But for this one, it was a bit of a miss. It was a huge disappointment because of how much hype this book has gotten, but it was just a miss. But this was on my list of thrillers to read in the year, so I got a gem for that. This one is going to be Red. Red is fantasy, and I have 2 gems for fantasy. Next, I read That Silence by S.A. Barnes. This is... Here's the thing. I've said multiple times that this is a horror book about this crew that finds a ship that's like a ghost ship, because that's what it says here. That's what it says on Goodreads. That's how it's sold. It's not. This is a sci-fi book. set in space about a crew who finds a ship that has been lost for a long time, and there's some creepy stuff happening in that ship. I don't think this is a horror book, but a lot of people do. A lot of people really read this as a horror. I really do not think this is horror. I don't see the horror aspect in it. There's a part where it starts to get horror-y, and then it stops immediately and we go to something else completely different. So this is a sci-fi book, which maybe I would have liked more if it was trying to be more sci-fi than trying to be horror without having more horror elements to it. If you watch the movie Sunshine, this reminded me a lot of that movie. It's a really fun movie, but I don't know, this book just disappointed me so much, and the reveal at the end was just, I think it was stupid, honestly. And I don't know, it was just a very big disappointment. I was so excited about this book when I heard the premise, but like I said, it's not horror, although it tried to be. And the reveal, I didn't like it. This is really mean, but that's how I feel. And this does not fulfill any of my goals. And the last book that I read in February was Extraordinary by V. Schwab. This is a graphic novel that comes between vicious and vengeful, and I read Vicious and I gave it 5 stars. And honestly, after time passed, I didn't remember so much why I had given Vicious 5 stars. I didn't remember much about the book, and it was like, it seems like it was a fun book, but why was it 5 stars? This reminded me why it was 5 stars. This was 4. The Extraordinary itself was 4 stars, but it kind of, one of the parts of the graphic novel summarizes Vicious a lot, and that just reminded me why I gave that book 5 stars, because it's really good. It's genius, and I really love the concept of everything. So it reminded me, and I really enjoyed this one. This was 4 stars. This is kind of a very, very short story in this world about a girl who she gets one of the powers in this world. When you get a near-death experience, you might get a superpower, and she gets a superpower, and there are people hunting her, and we just follow that. It was really good, it was really nice, and I'm really excited to get into Vengeful now after reading this one, because it reminded me that the series is really awesome. So round 2 is complete, and I got 4 gems again, same as in January. I got 4 gems, and I did complete one of the categories. So I have 3 gems in orange category, which is thriller, so I get to buy a thriller book. I don't really have anything in mind right now that I want to get. So please give me your suggestions. If you could recommend me 1 thriller book, or maybe 2 or 3, your favorite thriller books. If you could recommend any book for me, let me know which book you would recommend. And if you think that I should wait to get 5 and buy a special edition, I will say that thriller also means horror or mystery. If someone gives me a very compelling suggestion of a book that I can buy, next month I'm going to use these gems for that book. So let me know. Or if someone gives me a very compelling special edition for me to wait for the 5 gems, that would also be awesome, because I don't have anything in mind, and honestly this game is so much more fun if you participate and if you join me and help me pick books. But that's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Remember to like and subscribe, and thank you so much for joining me. Bye!